The Community Visitors Scheme is an Australian government initiative. It began in 1992 and is part of the Commonwealth's user rights strategy for residents of aged care homes. The CVS helps to establish and maintain links between a person living in an aged care home and their local community. Community visitors are introduced to residents who are experiencing loneliness and isolation. They visit on a one-to-one basis at least fortnightly. A diverse range of community-based organisations are funded around Australia to deliver the Community Visitors Scheme. These organisations operate in city areas as well as country areas and cover every state and territory.
Isolation's different things to different people. I think we all feel isolated in different circumstances. Residents in facilities feel it because they've left their own home maybe, and they're isolated from their own friends and their own familiar surroundings, their belongings, their own routines even. It can mean that they're isolated amongst a million other people.
How have you been? You been up to mischief?
No mischief in my life.
No. She has been so well and healthy and happy and cheerful in herself.
You have to be clever to be a music. Do you think so?
I think you have to be good looking, that's what you have to be. I think it's at that moment that she knows I'm there to see her and her exclusively. It just makes her day.
Oh, gosh, I hope they don't go and do mine like that. I wouldn't know how to comb it.
I think she really treasures our friendship and the time that we spend together. Yeah.
I think that a community visitor can fulfil lots of different needs for a resident. They can fulfil emotional needs, social needs, cultural needs, even spiritual ones.
I've been living in this place here about 12 months. And I don't really know anybody, really only neighbours. I don't know anybody, but we always say hello. That's about all.
I think she's isolated from people in general, I would say. She's very friendly, but family and friends, I don't think she has many of.
Oh, well, it's very enjoyable. We talk and laugh and giggle. And that's all the rest we do, you know.
I think friendship is the key criteria in this program, and that one-to-one relationship is vitally important.
Aged care homes play a key role in the successful operation of the CVS. Staff can assist by identifying residents who may benefit from receiving a community visitor and making referrals to their local CVS coordinator.
And they need to be people who would respond in some way to a volunteer, not necessarily throw their arms around them every time, but even just for the moment, feel good about having somebody visiting just with them.
Doris was sort of a person that came into the facility that was always feeling really lonely and spending a lot of time in her room. She also had the disadvantage of being blind as well, so that was it was really pretty hard for her. And I thought, well, why don't I try and get a volunteer for her and see whether or not, that's going to work out.
When a resident is first admitted into a nursing home, a lifestyle profile is filled out, which contains details regarding that resident. From this, we're able to establish whether the resident would benefit from having a volunteer visitor. A resident referral profile is then filled out, and as the activities coordinator at the nursing home, it is my responsibility to contact the volunteer organisation, speak to the coordinator and just discuss who I think would be suitable for the program.
The information provided on the resident profile will assist in finding an appropriate community visitor for the resident and in supporting the friendship. It should include a social, family and work history, interests and any relevant medical information.
Savvy brought her to me, and I was blind then, and made me shed a few tears because first thing she said, I'll be your friend.
Hi, Iris.
6 months before I started with the community visitor scheme, my mum died and my grandparents died when I was young. So Iris has been a mixture of a pseudo-mother and a grandmother to me. And sometimes when I'm with Iris, I just feel like I'm with my mum.
We try to gather a little information about the volunteer themselves, a little bit about their background, their interests, if they have a particular empathy with older people or some experience or skills they may be able to share.
Community visitors have a very clear role definition that supports the aim that their involvement and the development of a friendship will help to address the loneliness and isolation of an individual resident. Community visitors have an interview with the CVS coordinator who will also check their references. They're asked to sign a memorandum of understanding to ensure they understand their role and boundaries. For example, community visitors are not allowed to monitor the standards of care in a home or be involved in residents' care. They should always respect the residents' privacy, confidentiality and dignity.
We try and prepare the volunteer for the work that they're going to be doing. And in induction training, you might give them information about the culture of the nursing home, because some people haven't been into a nursing home before. We give them an overview of dementia and the conditions of ageing. We give them some information about the auspice volunteer policies, about insurance cover for them, and also, very importantly, duty of care.
When community visitors meet the resident for the first time, they're given an orientation to the aged care home environment. Staff can assist greatly by welcoming, encouraging and supporting community visitors. The success of the CVS relies very much on a good partnership between the hospice, organisation and the home.
We would orientate them to the environment, the physical aspects of where we're situated. This area has lovely coffee shops nearby. They're the sorts of things that we'd be doing. We'd be looking at what's around us to use in the relationship. And then here in this facility, what's the garden areas that work well, the areas of the nursing home where they could sit and have a cup of tea together without being interrupted. That's the first orientation. And the second one would be to the individual orientation to the resident, how they've lived their life and how they cope with the challenges that life presents, whether or not they've got ongoing grief issues that they're dealing with now. And that's all behind a medical prognosis that we have to take into account as well.
Okay, I just put them underneath your comb, so if you feel like doing your hair... So when I came to meet her at first with Marilyn, I really don't think I got 5 words out of her. So when I came on my own for the first time, I was really nervous that I didn't even know what I was going to expect. I just thought perhaps things wouldn't... I thought things maybe wouldn't work out for us.
At times Iris has some quite strong emotional needs and sometimes I find it a little bit difficult. So the coordinator of the community visitor scheme and the activities coordinator at the aged care facility have been terrific support for me.
But particularly as ongoing monitoring, we need to be sure that they're managing the changes in the resident's condition. If a resident's health or cognition is deteriorating, the volunteer needs to feel comfortable and confident that they can continue visiting without feeling obliged to.
CVS coordinators regularly monitor the relationship between the resident and the volunteer. If a resident's health deteriorates, the volunteer needs to be supported by the CVS coordinator in partnership with the aged care home to ensure that the volunteer still feels confident about visiting. Every friendship between a community visitor and a resident is unique and individual. Some community visitors visit residents who come from a culturally and linguistically diverse background, or of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander background.
interpreter. And when I retired, I thought to myself, you know, I had nothing to do, and I like helping. That's my idea. We talked together for a little while. She's happy to see me. I know that. Contenta quando io vengo qua?
Oh, when I'm coming, I'm sitting next to his bed and we're talking, you know, we talk English and Hungarian, so it makes him happy, you know, so joking, he liked to joke. Only one glass of wine, one glass.
Only one.
One, not two. One glass. Every second week we go to Hungarian club. We having lunch there. Oh, he's very happy there because he knows a lot of people are there too. And so it makes him very happy when I take him out to the club.
There are many reasons why a community visitor may need support, including the challenges connected with specific cultural and linguistic needs, medical conditions such as dementia, and the natural challenges of the ageing process, like deterioration in hearing or vision. Recognising and supporting a community visitor is important. When a resident becomes ill or dies, the community visitor and the hospice organisation should also be notified, just as a family member would be at this time.
If a resident dies, it can be very distressing for a volunteer because they've been a special friend often to that person for many years. But sometimes in that busy period, they aren't notified about the death of the resident. And I think it's vitally important for aged care facilities staff to include them.
I was visiting Lillian for nearly 2 years, and Oscar, my poodle, came with me, and we were really enjoying each other's company. I got a lot from Lillian, and I know that she enjoyed me coming because you could see the smile on her face when you walked through the door. I walked into the home this day, and the nurse said to me, "Who was I going to visit?" She actually said to me, "Look, Lillian had passed away a day ago," and I felt yes, very saddened that I hadn't actually been been rang or to be informed of what had happened.
Yes, in those last days of Sid's life, I regularly had calls from the nursing home. They'd let me know how he was, whether there'd been deterioration during the night, and their care and their concern for Sid as they popped in and out through the night, and their care and concern for me during that time too really touched me. And it's something that I think is very special. And it's a gift, I think, that those people at that home have. I'd been visiting Sid for 7.5 years, and so the staff knew that we had quite a special friendship.
The best thing that nursing homes can do is try to encourage the volunteers. They should really try to encourage and try to empower the volunteers.
Very recently they invited me to afternoon tea for a volunteer recognition day, and we were presented with a certificate and a little present, and that was very special, made me feel really part of the team.
The staff here see community visitors as a real bonus, and it's a privilege for anyone lucky enough to have one.
Benefits to residents participating in the Community Visitors Scheme may include a greater feeling of well-being, an increased sense of purpose, and reduced feelings of isolation. For both residents and community visitors, their lives are enhanced by the warmth and support that a one-to-one visit brings.
Space, and also like to prepare. I always say, look, I've got something to run by you, and I'd really appreciate your advice or your guidance. And when that happens, there's just a feeling of everything will be all right. I'm actually going to need a big kitchen.
Being needed, I guess, that works both ways. We might say that the volunteer is the one who's needed, but the resident can also feel that they're needed as part of this relationship, and I think that's very important too.
And we seem to be able to converse on different things, lots of things, which she can
enlighten me on, and little things I can help to enlighten her. Oh yes, we're very close.